Brenda Lawrence. She is the U.S. Representative for Michigan's 14th Congressional District. She's joining us this morning on the Oakland County Megacast. It is so good for you to have you with us this morning. Thank you for taking time out. I would imagine your schedule is probably crazy busy.
It is, but we just have a lot of work to do. It's an honor to be with you today. And to all the listeners, I'm really honored to have this opportunity to speak with you.
So many things going on right now. Where do you even want to start? Maybe with the Postal Service, you name it, because there's a lot to talk about.
There's a lot to talk about. If I could jump into the Postal Service, I want everyone to know that prior to going into Congress, I had almost a 30-year career with the United States Postal Service. And so when all of this discussion and complaints and concerns were rising about postal delivery, obviously I was pulled into it and was very engaged. So let me tell you the reality. The Postal Service touches every single home in America. The only organization or federal agency that does that. So the approval rating of the Postal Service is in the 90s. It's trusted. People depend on it. As we know, our veterans, our seniors are getting their medications by mail during this pandemic. If it were not for the Postal Service and other delivery agencies, we would not have been able to have our basic human needs. And so we dived right into it, and we found that there were sorting machines, sorting machines that sorts 37,000 pieces of mail an hour were being removed from facilities. In Detroit, it was 5 of them. In Pontiac, they had about 3 of them. And then we were hearing that the carriers were given a whole different delivery program, and all of these actions and removing collection boxes were delaying the mail. And so we called the Postmaster General in front of my committee, which is government oversight, and we sent letters to him to cease and desist, because as we know, our election is coming up, and voting, because of a pandemic, is going to be very dependent on a mail system. It can't go to a private company because it is our mail, and we need a federal agent partner, and that's the Postal Service. And so when we heard that this was happening, we called him. We called him before us for a congressional hearing. We sent a letter, cease and desist. He did agree in writing to stop removing machines, to stop changing delivery schedules, and to stop removing collection boxes until after the election. I found we have had elections during world wars, from pandemics, from national disasters. We've always been able to pivot to the Postal Service when people cannot get to their polls. And this is a situation we're in now, and we just can't have that happening.
You offer such an important insight and voice to this issue because you are a prior employee of the Postal Service. But
Mhm.
because we are changing how we use the Postal Service, people just don't mail things like they used to as an email or something of that nature. Hasn't the Postal Service been experiencing budget issues for years and bleeding money? So, what can be done to address those issues, and why is it just now being such a hotbed of an issue? Is it because of the election year?
It's absolutely because of the election year. I sit on government oversight, and part of my job is to provide oversight and to ensure that the Postal Service is functioning in a way so it can be efficient and meet its goals. And so, what was so troubling is that, first of all, the Postmaster General had not been on the job 2 months, and immediately came in making all these drastic changes. And he even admitted in his hearing he had no clue the impact these type of just major changes would have on the delivery of the mail. Now we know that we have a drop dead date to vote. And if I put my ballot in the mail system and the mail is sitting in facilities and not getting to the clerk's office, my right to vote had been denied. And that cannot happen at this time. And so we told him, we get that you're the Postmaster General. I definitely respect that, knowing the role that a Postmaster General plays. But first of all, we don't understand this just drastic, massive, just removing of machines. It was just chaos, and the union, the employees, and on top of a pandemic. So the Postal Service is an essential worker. They've been going to work during this whole pandemic, and they have been hit hard with cases and deaths within the organization. Why would you come in and create this chaos? If no one could understand it, and then when you look at the impact, but the Postal Service has replaced handwritten and first class mail with parcels because, as we know, and during this pandemic, it really doubled. People are using mail delivery for basic things like ordering food and household supplies and clothes and everything through the Postal Service. So the Postal Service has a future. They're going to have to make some changes, but they cannot dismantle the Postal Service where it becomes inefficient.
U.S. Representative Brenda Lawrence joining us today. She is from Michigan's 14th Congressional District, joining us on the Oakland County Megacast this morning. And later on this week, you'll be hosting a town hall alongside some local clerks and Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson. Can you tell us a little bit about what will be discussed at that town hall?
So there has been a term used that every American citizen should plan their vote because you have a lot of options. So let's talk about your options. First of all, you can request an absentee ballot and you can fill out that ballot and mail it in. You can go to your clerk's office, request a ballot or register and vote that same day, fill it out and hand it to the clerk. You can actually go to the poll on election day. That's still an option for you, and do the traditional way. Go to the polling center, fill out your ballot, and enter into the machine. So we want everyone to understand how they can plan their vote. What's best works for you. We also, we also have these collection boxes throughout the state where if you don't go to your clerk's office, you can safely deposit your ballot into these voting ballot boxes. So to explain all that and to help everyone with this on this Friday, September 18th, from 6 to 7, we're going to have a virtual town hall in planning your absentee vote in a COVID-19 environment. And we're going to have the West Bloomfield Township Clerk, Debbie Biner. We're going to have the Pontiac City Clerk, Garland Dole, and the Hamtramck City Clerk, August Grambling. And so when we have all of these clerks on there, including the amazing Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson, to talk and answer questions, it'll be live and you'll be able to answer questions. You can watch, but I want everyone to know that in West Bloomfield, in Farmington Hills, and in all the surrounding areas in the 14th District, you can always call me at Congresswoman Lawrence at thathouse.gov, and you can get some answers from me as well. But this is an opportunity. It's part of my job to keep you informed. Voting is one of the requirements of being an American citizen. There's only 3 things that's asked of you as an American citizen. It is to be counted every 10 years, and I must use this time to say, please, if you have not completed your census, do so now. There's a lot of discussion about cutting off the census. And in addition to that, the other thing that's asked of you is that you pay your taxes. And the third thing is that you vote, because we have a democracy. That's how our government runs. And it doesn't run if we don't participate in our democracy by voting. And it's a privilege right, because no one else outside of America can come in here and vote, and only American citizens. And it is such a privilege, and our democracy depends on it.
It is such a privilege, and so many people have fought for our right to vote. So do
Yes.
them justice in all the work that they did to give us that right, and we appreciate that. I will say I'm kind of old school in that I like to go to the polls because I want my I
Come on.
voted sticker. Now on social media, it's a big thing who has the best sticker. So uh, definitely, and we've covered this issue at length as well here on the MegaCast, and for anyone, so it's great that you are doing this as well because we've spoke at length with Debbie Binder here, and every time we do, I have additional questions for her as well. So thank you for doing that. Can we also touch on the relief package, COVID-19 relief package? What is it like right now for you to be an elected leader and in DC with so much divisiveness? Can we come together to get some of these issues resolved? Because going into the winter months, there's so many concerns that so many more businesses are going to go under because of COVID-19. And how do we come together as a nation to support them and to support all of us to get us through this crisis?
You know, the question is when we have to do it. Um, so far, we've passed the CARES Act, and the CARES Act took care of testing. It took care of our hospitals. It gave us that, I call it bridge over troubled waters for the American citizens. That was the extra payment in unemployment and the stimulus check. We have so many issues because we did not anticipate that COVID would be around and be impacting our country at this long of a period. So now, in the first CARES Act, we took care of loans for our small businesses. In the HEROES Act, which is being negotiated, believe me, Nancy Pelosi is going to the table. Mnuchin and Meadows, I think those are the negotiators right now. And they are moving. It's not moving fast enough for me, but they are moving. There was a disagreement on issues, as there always have been and always will be, between a two-party system of government. But I'm hopeful that within the next couple of weeks we'll have something. But in the HEROES Act, we're going to talk about our cities and the municipalities. Now, let me share something with you. With the civil distress um, and the outcry for criminal justice reform, this term of defunding the police, which I, being a former mayor, do not support defunding the police. We need our police department, and we need to support them. But if we have cities trying to balance their budget, and after spending all of this money for COVID, um, some of the communities right around us were hotspots, and we have to get money back into the city's coffers, or else the number one line item on every city's budget is public safety, your police and your fire. They're going to have to make layoffs like they did when we had our financial crisis. So we don't want to defund the operations of cities. We have to give monies to our state, our county, and our cities. We need more money for testing. As if any of you have ever gone in and gotten a test, you know that the wait time and sometimes the unavailability of a test. We have to look at housing. So many people are at the verge of losing their homes. And so all these things are on the table, and there is not if, we must come to an agreement and address these issues.
U.S. Representative Brenda Lawrence with us on the Oakland County MegaCast today, all throughout the Oakland County area. She's holding a town hall this Friday with multiple city clerks and with Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson. You can find more information on that on Lawrence's website. That is www.lawrence.house.gov to register for the event and to find more updates. Representative Lawrence, just a few more minutes with you before we have to let you go today. Any other information that would be important for our audience to know, or any other topics that you would like to discuss today?
Yes, I want to talk a little bit about schools and sending your children back to school. That is a very personal decision that every parent has to make. But I will be having a town hall too on that. And most of our schools have gone virtual. Tools and resources that you need at home for your child to be able to be successful. I want you to know that Congress is not naive to the fact that some of you are having to go back to work as we reopen our economy, and childcare is a really big issue. And we are legislating. We have sent a bill over to the Senate. Again, we sent a bill to the Senate, and it will provide assistance for childcare facilities and for parents to get tax credits for childcare. The other thing I want everyone to recognize is that the census, again, voting are at the top, but please remember your health. Wearing a mask is not a political statement. Wearing a mask is not only respectful of others, but it says, the saying, put the mask on yourself first before you help others. We can take this virus out. We're waiting on a vaccine. The scientists are saying it won't be until the middle of next year before we have a really viable vaccine. And so it's the wearing the mask and, limiting large gatherings. We can do this. The numbers are going in the right direction now. If we could just get our campuses, our universities and colleges on the right path, our numbers in general have been going in the right direction. So I just wanted to share that while I have this time. Please, please wear the mask, limit your social gatherings, and pay attention, get tested when needed, and pay attention. And we'll get through this. We'll get through this. This is not taking away a right, because wearing the mask is only going to be needed while this pandemic is attacking us. So it's not taking away a right. It's just saying, as Americans, we're always locked hands and came together to fight off any enemy. And the enemy right now is COVID-19.
That's a good perspective. I always think of the mask as our fashion statement. We should have approached it like that from the beginning. It's not a political statement, it's a fashion statement.
I have many fashion statements. Matter of fact, I shouldn't one.
I'm going to a wedding this weekend and I bought a fancy one. Oh, that's a cute one. See?
Very nice.
I have almost every color, and it's you got to take lemons and make lemonade. And sometimes I'm out and I see some really nice masks, and so I just encourage everyone. That'd be really cool to have a special one for a wedding. I mean, wouldn't it be cool if the bride had one as her veil? Really nice.
That would make for a very unique wedding album, right?
Yes.
Well, thank you so much. We always appreciate having you here on the Oakland County MegaCast. You're always invited to come back. We appreciate your hard work. While some people have been off during this time, we know that you and your staff have not been. And to all of our elected leaders, it may not seem like a lot is getting done, but you guys are working around the clock. And we want to say thank you to you and your team. And come back to the MegaCast at any time and show off your mask.
Okay, I will. So everyone be safe. Thank you so much. Thank you.